Exposed. How one flight attendant's heartwarming act changed the lives of 200 passengers forever. On a rainy Tuesday morning, Jenna stepped onto the plane, her infectious smile ready to light up the cabin. But beneath that vibrant exterior lay a heavy heart, burdened with worry. Her younger brother's struggle with addiction, and her father's fight against the odds had taken their toll. The flight to Los Angeles was a temporary escape from her small town, a patchwork of ambition and despair reflecting her own life. Yet she couldn't shake the feeling that she was all alone. As she moved through the aisles brightening each weary face, she noticed a young mother named Mary with eyes filled with anxiety. Mary, a veteran, sat clutching her two restless kids, their fingers tugging on her sleeve. Jenna recognized that look of fear. The burden of being judged weighed heavily on Mary's shoulders. Compelled by empathy, Jenna approached and offered a reassuring smile that felt like a warm hug. "How about a snack for the little ones?" she asked, and within moments the tension started to ease. Mary's shoulders relaxed just a little. With takeoff drawing near, Jenna strolled the aisle, encouraging passengers to share snippets of their lives. A car mechanic with dreams of a workshop, a retiree ready to reunite with family, and an aspiring musician battling self-doubt all chimed in with laughter and stories. For that fleeting moment, the cabin transformed into a sanctuary of shared struggles and hopes. Laughter echoed through the air, knitting a community together amidst their individual burdens. But turbulence hit, both outside the plane and within. A passenger suddenly fell ill, panic rippling through the cabin. Jenna felt her heart race. As the chaos unfolded, she faced a crucial choice: follow strict protocol or tap into that raw human instinct. She opted for connection. "We're all in this together," she called out, urging everyone to lend a hand. The plane surged with empathy. Strangers became allies. They formed a human chain, passing ice and reassuring words back and forth. The fear melted into compassion as Mary quietly comforted her children, finding strength in the shared moment. Jenna's voice rang out steady and calm, reminding everyone to breathe. A warmth enveloped them, merging identities into one single entity, a community facing uncertainty together. Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system, and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. As the plane began its descent into Los Angeles, an emotional weight filled the air. Despite their individual struggles, these 200 souls had melded into a tapestry of resilience, a community that could face the world. But as they prepared to land, an undeniable question lingered. Would they carry this unity beyond the flight? Jenna's heart raced with hope. This moment could change everything for them all. If only they chose to embrace it. As the plane touched down, a wave of relief swept through the cabin. Jenna felt it, a ripple of shared exhilaration and gratitude that seemed to pulse with every heartbeat. As passengers unbuckled their seatbelts, she could see smiles blooming like flowers after a storm. But amidst the celebration was a quiet question echoing in her mind. How could she help these 200 souls remain connected after they disembarked? Stepping off the plane, Jenna realized the moments they had shared were not merely idle chatter or flight distractions. They had forged a bond, and she wanted to keep that fire burning. The airport swelled with busy travelers, but she yearned for this group to hold on to the warmth they had kindled in the air. Jenna glanced back one last time at the cabin, and as she moved through the terminal, her eyes fell upon Mary and her children. They stood almost frozen, taking in a world they had temporarily escaped. Jenna approached, feeling the pull of connection. "I know it's crazy out here," Jenna said, her voice gentle yet filled with excitement. "But your kids are amazing. How about I help you find a place to grab a bite to eat?" Mary held her gaze, disbelief and gratitude colliding in her eyes. "Really? That would be incredible." As they walked, Jenna felt the unmistakable spark of purpose. She started to chat with Mary about her kids, their favorite snacks, and how to manage traveling with little ones. The conversation flowed, and soon other passengers began to join. A retiree named Harold, who had sat nearby, chimed in, sharing old family travel tips. An aspiring musician, Jake, offered to entertain the children with a quick song. Laughter filled the air as Mary's kids began bobbing their heads, losing themselves in the moment. Together, they formed a living circle of engagement, growing larger as others were drawn in by the infectious energy. Jenna's heart swelled. It was more than just surviving a flight. It was about reviving a sense of community. Each conversation opened doors to deeper stories, weaving lives together beyond that brief time in the air. But just as quickly as joy had risen, a shadow loomed. Jenna spotted a young man at the edge of their gathering, pale and trembling. He clutched his phone, his face a storm of anxiety. "I just got a text. My brother. There was an accident," he stammered. The air thickened with tension, laughter fading. Without thinking, Jenna stepped forward, instinct taking over. "Hey," she said, gently placing a hand on his shoulder. "You're not alone. We're all here for you." Others nodded in agreement, their collective breath echoing a promise of support. But as Jenna scanned the room, she felt a familiar tightening in her chest. This was a crucial moment. A choice lay before her again. Would they pull together just like before? Could they transform fear into strength? Tears pricked at the back of her eyes as she realized something profound. The hope they had shared was not just for themselves. It was about lifting each other up. As the tight-knit group rallied around the young man, Jenna wondered whether this moment could spark a movement, a community committed to caring beyond the confines of a mere flight. She felt renewed purpose igniting within her. Just then a thought struck her. Could this just be the beginning? Anyone interested in sharing a meal together? She asked, excitement bubbling in her voice. Let us make it a real celebration of friendship. What would they create in this new chapter of their lives? Would they embrace the chance to stay connected, to build on this shared experience? As hope vibrated in the air, a new adventure awaited them all. Jenna stood at the heart of the gathering, adrenaline coursing through her veins. The atmosphere had shifted from a vibrant celebration to a solemn gathering, and it felt heavy yet electric with potential. She watched as the young man, Lucas, took a deep breath, the initial shock still grappling with him. His fingers trembled as he typed another message, eyes glossing over. Let us find a corner where we can sit, she suggested, pointing towards a nearby cafe where the noise might not drown out their conversation. Mary, ever the nurturing presence, nodded and gently led her children towards the cafe entrance. Come on, kids. Let us get some ice cream, she exclaimed, injecting a bit of light back into the air. The children giggled, their initial fear fading under Mary's bright smile. Jenna watched them trail away, smiling at the ease with which Mary reassured her children. Yet she couldn't shake the anxiety from Lucas. Gathering everyone close, she encouraged them to sit. The group settled around a large wooden table, drinks in hand. Jenna felt the warmth of their shared experience clashing with the chill of uncertainty. Lucas, Jenna began gently, what happened? Do you want to talk about it? As she spoke, she felt the room lean in closer, silently urging him on. With trembling lips, Lucas finally opened up. My brother was in a motorcycle accident last year. He's recovering, but I just got a message that he's back in the hospital, he said, voice shaking. I was on my way to see him and I'm scared. The gathered passengers shared glances, expressions softening. Jenna's heart ached for him, yet it felt like a spark igniting among them. You're not alone in this, she said, locking eyes with him. We're all here for you. One by one, voices rippled through the group. Harold, the retiree, shared about his own brother, who had fought through illness but came out stronger on the other side. Jake strummed his guitar softly, providing a balm to the tension in the air. You're going to be okay, man. We've got your back, he emphasized, lifting spirits with every strum. Soon conversations erupted around the table, each person sharing their own stories of challenges, family, and connections. It was as if the weight of their own experiences had made them all closer. With every story, the bond deepened, layers of empathy weaving them together. Then, in what felt like a pivotal moment, Jenna leaned in closer to Lucas. What do you need right now? Her voice was quiet, but the weight of her insistence reverberated. Lucas paused, his eyes searching. My brother, I want him to know I'm there, but I also need to feel that support too. That's what we'll do, Jenna replied, determination creeping into her voice. We'll figure out a way to get you there, or at least keep you close to him, even if it's from a distance. Jenna felt a ripple of resolve in the room. More voices began to rise, offering solutions. Harold had his travel points, while a tech-savvy passenger, Mia, suggested a group video message for Lucas's brother. The energy surged again, a shared commitment to lift Lucas up, not just out of obligation but with genuine care. Just like that, the celebration transformed into a planning session, practical and hopeful. They pieced together moments of laughter alongside the concern, creating a tapestry of community support. As laughter mingled with serious discussion, Jenna's heart began to swell again. This was what she had hoped for, a place where people were no longer strangers but friends, family even, bound by something stronger than distance. Yet, amidst the positive energy, Jenna realized they stood on the brink of something even larger. This could be more than just for today, she mused aloud. Maybe we can create a way to keep connecting, sharing our journeys, supporting one another beyond this moment. Excited chatter filled the air, ideas darting back and forth. She could see light returning to Lucas's eyes, but as she scanned the group, something clicked in her mind. But what would they commit to? What could this community look like moving forward? Enthusiasm rose. Jenna couldn't shake the feeling that this was just the beginning. Adventure was brewing, but what shape would it take? Would they harness the momentum and form something that lasted? Questions buzzed, mingled with hope as they lifted their glasses in a toast, inadvertently sealing a pact. The air vibrated with anticipation. What did tomorrow hold? The sun began to set, casting a warm orange glow over the cafe, an inviting contrast to the heaviness that had settled earlier. Jenna looked around the table, her heart fluttering with excitement as ideas spilled out like confetti. Each person seemed to spark with new energy, and a sense of purpose filled the air. We could start a group chat, Mia suggested, her fingers dancing over her phone as she spoke. A space where we can update each other on our lives. It would be like our own little family. Lucas, who had been quiet for a moment, finally nodded, his eyes brightening. And maybe we could plan monthly meetups like a support circle. Share not just our struggles but our successes too. Real-life success stories, Jenna mused, picturing a cozy gathering. Encouragement can flow both ways. We need places to celebrate wins, big or small. It's not just about the hard times. A collective agreement echoed through the group. They began tossing actionable ideas back and forth, each one building on the last. Harold chimed in with a thought about a community board, a physical space where updates could be posted for those who might not be on social media. The thought of seeing faces and names stacked together on a wall brightened the mood even more. I love it, Jenna exclaimed, clapping her hands softly together. We'll create something tactile, an actual place where everyone can feel connected. The table erupted in laughter, the tension dissipating like mist under the sun. Kids giggled loudly from the ice cream bar while adults animatedly discussed the details of their budding community. Jenna felt her heart swell. This was the bond she had always sought, one formed through shared struggles and joy. Jake strummed his guitar again, punctuating the excitement with a few cheerful chords. We should have a launch party, the official start of our community. Music, food, the whole shebang. His enthusiasm was infectious, and the group erupted in cheers at the thought of a celebration as they planned. Jenna saw Lucas beam with every suggestion thrown his way. It was as if the weight on his shoulders had lightened with each offered solution. She could see that resolve beginning to settle in him, an ember of hope igniting, but in the middle of all this joy, a stray thought pulled at her. What if some people need more than just words or meetups? What if someone is struggling in silence? She looked around the table, met with curious faces. What if we created a way for those who need it most to reach out? Silence fell over the group, and Jenna realized the gravity of her suggestion. The laughter faded as minds turned serious. It was not enough to build a welcoming community. They needed to build a safety net too. Let us establish a support system, Mia proposed softly. We could partner with local resources counselors, volunteer, something stronger than casual conversation. Jenna felt a rush of seriousness sweep over her. This was indeed uncharted territory, but it was necessary. Let us not just focus on the good times. We can create a safe place for people to be honest about their struggles. Someone might be a little too scared to speak up when they need it most. Whispers of agreement fluttered around the table, murmurs of commitment igniting aspiration. Jenna could sense the delicate balance between excitement and the sense of responsibility that now formed the backbone of their plans. The stakes suddenly felt higher. Then let us add it to our list, Jenna said, determination hardening her voice. Building community is about lifting each other up, every single part of it. Together we can make it work. As they began crafting a vision filled with hope, Jenna's heart raced with apprehension and excitement. What if they could really turn this dream into reality? What if they could genuinely impact lives? Moments passed, but just as clarity settled, her phone buzzed on the table. A new message, one that could change everything again. Jenna's breath hitched as she glanced at the screen, wondering what news awaited her, and whether it would bring them even closer or drive them apart. What awaited on the other side of that notification? Would it threaten to unravel what they had just begun to weave together? Jenna's fingers trembled as she picked up her phone. The glowing screen felt like a beacon in the growing twilight, a spot of brightness amidst the weighty discussions they were having. She opened the message, her stomach twisting in knots. It was from her sister, Claire, and the words leaped off the screen. Mom's in the hospital. It's serious. Time paused. The chatter around her faded, replaced by a rush of static in her ears. Jenna held her breath, her heart pounding like a drum. Shock coursed through her, numbing her senses. Just that morning, she had seen her mother, laughing and vibrant, nothing indicating that this would happen. Jenna? Mia's voice, soft and concerned, broke through her daze. Are you okay? Her eyes darted around the table, meeting the worried faces of her friends. They were all here, ready to build something beautiful together. And now this news felt like a wrecking ball swinging through her heart. I need to go, she stammered, trying to keep her voice steady. What's wrong? Lucas asked, his brow furrowed. My mom. She's in the hospital. With every word, the weight of that reality sank deeper into her chest. I need to be there. The table fell silent, a collective gasp escaping their lips. It was as if the air had thickened, the warmth and joy they had been gathering now pulled into a tight knot of worry. Mia reached out, placing a hand on Jenna's arm. We can come with you. You don't have to face this alone. No, Jenna said, feeling a swell of gratitude and love for her friends, yet knowing she needed to handle this alone. I have to do this myself. Just know we're here for you, Harold chimed in, his voice steady. Whatever you need, you've got it. Their support wrapped around her like a comforting blanket, but Jenna felt herself slipping into that place of fear. What if her mother's condition was worse than the message hinted? What if it changed everything? Keep us posted, okay? Jake said, his guitar now silent, an understanding settling in. Jenna nodded, swallowing hard. I will. The words felt heavy, like stones pulling her further down into dread. As Jenna stood up from the table, the ambience of the cafe shifted, filled now with a sense of urgency and care. She didn't want to leave her newfound community, but the draw of family was undeniable. Each step she took toward the exit was laden with uncertainty. With her heart still thudding loudly, she stepped into the cooling evening air, the soft breeze brushing against her face, refreshing yet cruel. She glanced back at the cafe, a bittersweet ache blooming in her chest. They had just started to build something great, and now she felt like she was abandoning it just as it was beginning to flourish. But the truth was, family came first. The absence of her mother's laughter and warmth was a void too immense to ignore. As she climbed into her car, the weight of the moment pressed upon her, and she turned on the ignition. The wheels began to move, and beneath that uncertainty, a new determination surged. Perhaps this was part of the journey to building that community, a path she had to walk through darkness before finding light. She pulled into the hospital parking lot, breath catching in her throat as she surveyed the large, sterile building. A sense of doubt clawed at her edges. Would she find her mother in a bed, worried and frail? Would she get to speak her heart one more time, to tell her how much she meant to her? As she stepped inside, a familiar face greeted her, but it wasn't a face she'd been hoping for. The hospital lobby loomed, and a knot twisted in her gut. In that icy moment, Jenna clenched her fists, murmuring a silent prayer. She was about to confront the hardest truth of her life, and then, as if the universe were testing her resolve, she caught sight of a woman in the corner, face pale and trembling, holding tightly to a small child. Her heart ached, and suddenly she realized that in a sea of struggles, she wasn't the only one. Excuse me, is everything okay? She asked, stepping toward them, knowing she couldn't just walk past. That simple question opened a door she hadn't expected. What answer awaited on the other side? And how would it weave together their stories in this moment of vulnerability? The woman looked up, her eyes wide with surprise, and Jenna felt the weight of her worry reflected back at her. My daughter isn't feeling well," she stammered, her voice a tremor among the sterile sounds of the hospital. The small child clung to her mother's leg, eyes bright and frightened. Jenna's heart squeezed painfully. Just moments ago her own fear felt so isolating. But here was a reminder that the world was full of unspoken battles. "Do you need help?" Jenna asked, stepping closer. It was like a reflex, an instinct to reach out when faced with shared vulnerability. "Yes, I don't know what to do," the woman replied, her breath hitching. She wanted to stop crying. "I was hoping things would be different." Jenna felt an unexpected surge of warmth. In that vulnerable moment, she was no longer just a daughter terrified of losing her mom. She was a stranger extending her hand to another, creating an invisible bond between them. "Can I sit with you for a moment?" The woman nodded, uncertainty and hope mingling on her face. As Jenna crouched beside them, the child peered up. "Is Mommy sad?" she asked, her voice small and brave. "No, sweetie. Just worried," the mother replied, stroking the child's hair, her tone immediately soothing. The moment anchored Jenna, providing a momentary reprieve from her own turmoil. They chatted quietly, sharing snippets of their lives. Jenna learned that the little girl's name was Lily, and that she had a wild imagination, always drawing colorful worlds on any scrap of paper she could find. "That sounds amazing," Jenna said, smiling at the child. Her own worries faded into the background for a moment. A bond formed over shared laughter and flickers of joy amidst uncertainty. But the conversation turned serious when the woman revealed her daughter's diagnosis. "It's just a stomach bug, the doctor said she'll be okay. But it's hard to see her like this," she whispered, tears springing to her eyes. "I understand," Jenna said, feeling the knot in her chest tighten again. But she couldn't turn away now. "It's hard to be out of control when it comes to family, right?" The woman's eyes filled with gratitude. "Thank you for sitting with us." But in that moment, Jenna realized that she needed more than just this momentary connection. The hospital felt daunting, the sterile smell and fluorescent lights making her stomach churn. But connecting with this woman and her child gave her a flicker of hope. How could one person's vulnerability shine a light in the darkness? Perhaps Jenna was meant to learn something in this shared experience. As they spoke, time slipped away. The hospital wasn't just a place of suffering. It was also a space where humanity shone through the cracks. Jenna felt herself fill with strength, an energy she didn't know she had. They were moved beyond the shared experience of fear, and as the little girl's smile broke across her face, Jenna remembered her own mother's laughter, vibrant, full of life. It made her heart ache, but also ignited a flame of hope. Suddenly, a sharp voice broke through the fragile atmosphere, calling for the mother. "Ms. Ramirez?" Both women turned. Jenna's heart raced again. "Is that for me too?" she thought. What awaited her as she faced that voice? What new revelations would unfold in the tangled web of family, fear, and the strength of countless hearts beating in unison? Ms. Ramirez stood up, her face suddenly pale as she looked back at Jenna. "That's me," she said softly, almost as if the words were a prayer. The nurse, clipboard in hand, looked at her expectantly, waiting for her to gather her things. Lily shifted, reaching for her mother's hand. Jenna felt the air thicken. "Do you want me to come with you?" she asked, not wanting to let go of this connection. Ms. Ramirez shook her head gently, her eyes shiny with tears. "No, sweetheart. We'll be okay." During that fleeting moment of uncertainty, Jenna felt a wave of fear rush over her. Being alone was terrifying, and she wished she could ease that burden for them just as they had unknowingly eased hers. As Ms. Ramirez and Lily walked toward the nurse, Jenna caught their hands clasped together tightly. She wished more than anything that she could wrap her arms around them and tell them everything would be okay. Only moments ago they were sharing laughter, but now it felt heavy as goodbye loomed over them. "Take care," Jenna called, forcing a smile, though her heart felt anything but hopeful. The little girl looked back, her big eyes mirroring a deep-seated trust in her mother. But just when she thought everything was fading, she saw something out of the corner of her eye, a commotion outside the waiting room. A woman rushed in, her face flushed, frantic with urgency. Jenna locked eyes with her, the moment stretching like a taut rubber band. The woman was carrying a backpack and a worn-out teddy bear, and Jenna could sense her desperation from across the room. Is anyone here for a patient named Curry? The question echoed like a shot in the quiet space. Jenna's heart dropped. She connected the name to her own mother instantly. Could this new arrival be connected to her in some way? Jenna's insides twisted wildly as she half stood, half stumbled toward the woman. That's my mom's last name, she called out, her voice slightly high-pitched with anxiety. The woman's gaze snapped toward her, a flicker of recognition lighting her face. Oh my God, are you Jenna? Yes. Jenna's heart raced as she noticed the glimmer of familiarity in the woman's eyes. Do you know her? I'm Rebecca, a friend from her support group. I was desperate to find you. 1,000 questions crowded Jenna's mind, most pressing. What could be so urgent? What could possibly be happening now? Rebecca's expression turned serious, swallowed by concern more profound than anything Jenna had prepared for. They're keeping her for more tests, the woman said, halting as if trying to carefully adjust the weight of her words. She was asking for you. I thought you should be here. Jenna's breath caught in her throat. She blinked hard, emotions swirling, threatening to spill over. During the worst of times, it took a stranger's bond to remind her that she wasn't alone. But could she bear to face another storm alone? A whirlwind of emotions crashed over her, and without even thinking she stepped forward, pulling Rebecca into a tight embrace. I don't know what's going to happen, but I'm so grateful you came. Before she could afford to let herself react, her phone buzzed suddenly in her pocket. Would this news hold the key to her mother's health, or shatter whatever fragile stability remained? Jenna's hands trembled as she fished the phone out, and the name on the screen froze her in place. Could it be? What awaited her on the other end? And how would she face whatever storm was coming? Jenna's breath felt caught in her chest as she stared at her phone. The name lit up the screen like a beacon, a name she hadn't seen in weeks. Her heart raced as she pressed the button to answer, her fingers shaky. Hello? The voice on the other end was calm but laced with an undercurrent of urgency that sent Jenna's heart plummeting. Jenna? It's Dr. Simmons. I hope I'm not catching you at a bad time. She could sense the weight in his voice, and her stomach twisted at the notion of bad news. Jenna could hardly manage a response. No. What is it? Your mother has been through some distressing moments today, and we've decided to keep her for further evaluation. It's important I talk to you in detail about her condition. Jenna's heart thudded heavily in her chest. Each word Dr. Simmons spoke felt like a stone dropped into her stomach, rippling emotions through her. Is she okay? I believe she is stable, but what? She pressed, feeling a wave of panic swell inside her. For a moment silence weighed down the line like a heavy fog. There are complications. We need to run some tests that require your consent. It's crucial we understand how best to proceed. Jenna felt tears prick at her eyes. The thought of her mom lying in that sterile hospital bed, unable to fight for herself, it made her feel sick. What kind of tests? Advanced imaging scans to assess her condition properly. I know it sounds overwhelming. She could barely keep up with the rapid-fire thoughts in her mind. Will she need surgery? Dr. Simmons hesitated, letting a breath escape. It's too early to say. The results will guide us, but I assure you we'll do everything we can to help her. Jenna's world felt like it was tilting on its axis. She glanced at Rebecca, who stood close, her eyes wide with concern. The tight knot in Jenna's stomach twisted tighter when she saw the reflection of her own fear mirrored in Rebecca's face. Okay, Jenna finally replied, her voice wavering. Do what you need to do. I trust you. Thank you, Jenna. I'll keep you updated, but I recommend you come to the hospital as soon as you can. I think your mother would find comfort in your presence. The line went dead, but Jenna was left grappling with the weight of those words. She felt like she'd just been launched into a storm, and the waves were crashing over her head. What did he say? Rebecca asked gently, her voice almost a whisper. Jenna rallied, summoning whatever strength she had left. They want to keep her for tests. It's not great. We need to go now. With a nod, Rebecca took her hand, wrapping her fingers around Jenna's as if anchoring her to reality. They started down the stark hospital corridor together, Jenna's heart pounding against her ribs with each step as they walked toward the room. Jenna wrestled with the growing dread inside her. What if the news was worse than she could bear? What if it wasn't her mother they were trying to save? But alongside uncertainty, A flicker of determination sparked in her heart. She wouldn't let fear dictate her actions. She would face whatever was ahead head-on because her mother needed her now more than ever. Just as they reached the door, a loud crash echoed down the hallway, drawing their attention. The cacophony of commotion drew near. A drink cart tipped over, shouting erupted, and the tension in the air shifted suddenly. Jenna's stomach churned again. What was happening now? With her heart thundering, she took a deep breath and opened the door to her mother's room, ready to confront whatever chaos awaited her. Would she find the strength she needed? Or would this be the moment everything changed forever? Jenna stepped into the room, her heart racing. The sterile smell of antiseptic hit her like a wave, and for a moment, she couldn't see past the bright fluorescent lights overhead. Her mother lay in the hospital bed, surrounded by machines that beeped and hummed in a rhythm that felt foreign and intimidating. "Mom?" Jenna's voice trembled as she took a tentative step forward. Her mother's eyes fluttered open, a weak smile breaking through the exhaustion etched on her face. "Jenna," she croaked as if summoning all her strength to speak. Tears threatened to spill from Jenna's eyes. "Oh Mom, you're here." Relief mixed with fear swirling in her mind. "Dr. Simmons said don't." Her mother raised a hand, and the strength behind that single gesture was awe-inspiring. "Don't worry about me, honey. I'm tougher than I look." A bitter laugh escaped Jenna's lips. "But you look so small." The machines whirred around her mother like busy bees, drawing Jenna's attention for a moment. The sight of the 4-drip and the heart monitor made her stomach twist again. Seeing the concern etched on Jenna's face, her mother's smile faltered. "I know it's scary, but listen to me." There was a flicker of determination in her mother's eyes. "We've been through worse. Remember the time I had that terrible flu and you stayed home to watch over me? Of course. You cursed my chicken soup for days." Jenna managed a small smile, feeling the weight lift just a little. "Exactly. And I got through it. Just like I'll get through this." Her mother coughed lightly, wincing, but her eyes stayed glued to Jenna's. "You need to stay strong for yourself and for me." Jenna leaned in for a hug, finding solace in her mother's warmth, although it felt fragile like glass. "I'm trying, Mom. But it's hard." "Then let me be your strength for a while," her mother whispered. Suddenly, the door swung open with a creak, and Dr. Simmons stepped in, a hint of unease hovering around him. "I'm glad you're here, Jenna. We need to talk about your mother's tests. But I don't want to overwhelm you right now." Jenna pulled back, taking a breath. "We can handle it." Dr. Simmons nodded. "The scans are crucial to determine the next steps. We believe there are underlying issues, but we'll know more soon." Her mother caught Dr. Simmons' eye, her face reflective but steady. "Doctor, whatever it is, we'll get through it, right? We'll figure this out together?" Jenna wished she could feel as brave as her mother looked in that moment. "Absolutely," he assured them, "but I need to be transparent. There's a chance that her condition requires serious intervention." The air felt thick with tension. Jenna's eyes darted to her mother, who held her gaze steady, unwavering. "Mom, what if let us cross that bridge when we come to it?" her mother interjected softly. Jenna's heart raced again, a new wave of anxiety flooding through her. But there was also a glimmer of hope. Her mother was fighting. They were both fighting. Rebecca, having observed silently from the door, now stepped beside Jenna, squeezing her hand gently. "You've got this, Jenna. She's a fighter and you are too." As Jenna looked between her mother, Rebecca, and Dr. Simmons, she felt the weight of her situation. But amid the uncertainty, one thing remained clear. They were all in this together. And then a shrill alarm began to sound from one of the machines, sharp and piercing. Jenna's breath caught again in her throat as the room descended into chaos. "What is happening?" she cried out, her voice barely above the cacophony. Dr. Simmons swung into action, moving quickly toward the machine as nurses flooded in behind him. Jenna felt her heart plummeting into her stomach. This was not supposed to be how it went. Not now. Not when they were finally together. And just when Jenna thought everything would spiral out of control, the look on her mother's face shifted from steadiness to fierce resolve. Jenna, remember, her mother's words were lost in the din, but there was something in her eyes that spoke volumes. Jenna took a shaky breath, not ready to face the storm ahead. But one thing was certain. She couldn't turn back now. Would she find the courage to stand firm through the chaos? Amidst the chaos of beeping machines and bustling nurses, Jenna felt her pulse quicken. her heart racing with fear and uncertainty. She glanced at her mother, who remained resolute, an island of strength amid the turmoil. "Mom, I'm right here," Jenna said, her voice choked with emotions. She wouldn't abandon her now. The nurses murmured amongst themselves, quick to assess the alarms, and Dr. Simmons focused on the monitors. Slowly, amidst the hustle, clarity emerged in answer to uncertainty. A wave of calm washed over Jenna as her mother's reassuring gaze ignited a sense of purpose within her. "Focus on your breath," her mother whispered, her voice emerging steady as always. "We're in this together." Just hearing those words shook something deep inside Jenna. They were both fighters, they had faced storms before, and this was merely another chapter in their story. The nurses managed the machines with practiced ease, voices softening amid the fading chaos. "Just a bit of confusion. The medication needs adjusting and she is stable," Dr. Simmons explained as he glanced back and offered a nod to both women. Jenna felt a load lift slightly, but fear still stung at her heart. "Can we get through this?" she implored softly, her eyes pleading for assurance. Dr. Simmons met her gaze. "Yes, but we need you to hold on to hope. Your mother is strong and we have a plan." The hope in his voice invigorated Jenna, and for every terrifying second that had passed, a tiny seed of courage began to take root. As calm returned, Jenna concentrated on her mother. They shared words unspoken through mere glances filled with promise. They could face this together, but it wasn't just about them. In that moment, Jenna recalled the community she had started to build. Each face, each story intertwined. They were her support, an extension of her family, and this was their collective strength. Suddenly a nurse approached, a smile breaking through the earlier tension. "We're ready for her tests now," she said brightly, gesturing toward the door. "Are you two ready?" Jenna nodded, a sense of resolve washing over her like a gentle tide. "Yes," she said firmly. "Let us do this." And as they wheeled her mother away, Jenna took a breath and felt a warm pulse of support flowing through her. A reminder that she wasn't alone in the waiting room. Jenna's mind buzzed with thoughts, her friends, the community coming to life. She whipped out her phone, barely able to contain the hope that burst forth as she messaged the group. "My mom's in the hospital. She is stable, but we need to focus on her recovery. Let's meet up to plan what we can do." The responses poured in instantaneously. "We're here for you, Jenna. You've got this." As the warmth of responses filled the screen, she felt a weight lift even further. They were there, rallying around her, becoming the family she needed. Hours slipped by as Jenna navigated between worry and hope, glued to her phone, sharing updates and plans for her mother's care. And as she watched nurses come in and out, she realized just how important this community was. It wasn't just a chance meeting of strangers on a flight, it was a mosaic of lives, woven together by shared resilience. Finally, the door swung open again and Dr. Simmons emerged. The relief that spread across his face sent a ripple of anticipation through Jenna. "Your mother came through the tests all right," he began, his voice now carrying a weight of gravity. Jenna leaned in close, her breath catching. "What does that mean?" "She will need some monitoring, and we have a treatment plan drafted out. She is going to need support. But she is stronger than she appears," Dr. Simmons said with a reassuring smile. Jenna felt tears gathering. Hope was starting to bloom where there had only been fear. As they prepared to bring her mother back to the room, Jenna felt an overwhelming swell of gratitude for her mother's strength, for Rebecca, and for the community she was fostering. When her mother was wheeled back beside her, Jenna's heartbeat quickened again, but this time with joy. She grasped her mother's hand tightly. "We're going to get through this together. I have the most amazing support waiting out there for us," she said, her eyes gleaming. Her mother smiled weakly but genuinely, squeezing Jenna's hand in return. And as they settled into the embrace of the hospital room, Jenna knew that this was more than just about being a daughter and a mother. It was about being part of something mighty, a tapestry woven with love, resilience, and a commitment to support one another through every storm. A community was born on that flight, but it would continue to thrive, lifting its members beyond their struggles and into a shared future filled with light. As Jenna looked out of the hospital window, the sun began to melt into the horizon. She breathed deeply, past the weight of worry. It felt like the dawn of new beginnings. With her heart full of hope and unshakable resolve, she turned to her mother. "Mom, you've taught me so much. But this time I'm going to show you what community love feels like. Together, they were ready for whatever came next. Not as individuals, but as a family steeped in the strength of connection. A reminder that no storm could wash away the bonds forged in moments of vulnerability. And at that moment Jenna knew, today was just the beginning of a lifelong adventure full of love, challenges, and togetherness. Now is the time to join this journey as we forge ahead. You need to subscribe now for more inspiring stories like this one. This is the moment to show your support by hitting that like button. Leave a comment to share your thoughts and feelings about our triumph. Don't wait not even one more second to share this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this transformation. Together, let us keep building a thriving community.